Welcome to Coleman Report Live. I'm Bob Coleman. We're talking Main Street and the small business lenders who help it grow. John Riosty, live from Virginia. John, it's good to see you. It's been a couple weeks. I was off. You were off. So great to have you back in the saddle. Lance from Arkansas. Thank you, Lance, as always. And it's still a lot of news. So let's see. Let's start with the polls and let's get into the legislation because John has some great updates for us. Number one, if you're unwilling to attend in person, will you attend a small business lending conference virtually? This is a follow-up on yesterday's show with Jennifer. And Lance, I know they do a great job, but it's
Bob.
Still tough. Go ahead.
I'm excited. My plane ticket's bought. My hotel room is reserved. I'm ready.
For Mid-America, what are you going to be talking about in Texas?
Well, I'll be doing a couple of sessions. It's kind of fluid because they're not sure exactly what they want me to do, whether it's PPP servicing related or regular portfolio. Maybe I'll do both, but I'm going to be excited to be there and spend some time with my friends.
Lance, it's too bad they didn't give you a topic you know something about, but I figure you.
Yeah, it's Bob, I've got more guaranteed purchases that are submitted now, so it's exciting stuff.
All right, very good. Yeah, if you get a chance, where is it? Fort Worth this year?
It's in Arlington, which Arlington, Fort Worth, Dallas, it's all the same place to me.
I'm sorry, go ahead, Lance, finish.
Well, it's right by the Texas Rangers baseball stadium at the Lowe's complex.
Nice. Joseph will be in America East next week in Philadelphia. Please stop by. He's going to be doing some filming. Love to get you on for 2 or 3 minutes and just talk about what you do. And Joseph, hop in here real quick. You're going to be set up and you want a lot of interviews, right?
Yeah, correct. So just find me. You'll see the lights and come say hi and we'll get you on camera for a quick short interview.
And if you don't want to get on camera, that's fine also. Number 2, given the choice, would you prefer to work full-time at home, work in an office full-time, or a combination of both? John, I'll let you answer first. What's your preference these days?
I think my preference would be a combination of both, so I would fall in with
the majority. Yeah.
Percent.
Yeah. Lance, oh, by the way, John, do you have a building yet? Do you even know where they sold your building? They sold your office.
No, well, we were renters, and the only thing that might be interesting to people is the building we had been using prior to the pandemic was the Watergate building in Roslyn, Virginia, where Bob Woodward and Carl Bernstein
You just lost, John, you just lost half our audience. They go,
and talked to Deep Throat, who was then unknown to the general public, but now is known as Mark Felt, the late Mark Felt.
Yeah, you're right. That was in that building. Good. Yep. That's great trivia. Is there a star there or an X or something?
There is a historical marker right outside.
Really? Awesome.
It seems odd in a nondescript sort of downtown area right across the river from Georgetown. You can walk from, one Georgetown over the bridge to have that there, but it's there.
All right. Well, great. All right. That's our trivia for the day. Lance, what's your preference?
Bob, this is my third time to work 100% from home. And I like both, but I'm enjoying working from my home office. Chris and the guys at Fountainhead set me up with a real nice home office situation, and I'm enjoying it. So I'm either or for me. I like them both.
Joseph, I'll let you weigh in here because I know you were doing about half and half. You're now 100% out of your house. How do you feel about that?
Yeah, a combination for me as well. I like seeing you guys and having lunch with you guys. So it's just quite the hike down to Orange County. So.
All right, very good. Go ahead.
Joe made a great point about the not about the conferences, but how I feel about the conferences. I miss going to them, and in Mid-America, I was there for 9 consecutive years, Bob, giving a presentation, and then last year, no. So I'm giddy about being able to go to Mid-America this year.
All right, let's go to John. John, a lot of interesting legislation. I'm going to let you sort it out. What do you want to talk about first?
Well, I'd like myself to talk about the legislation that was introduced yesterday, I believe, by Senator Scott, who is a Republican from South Carolina, I'm sure as everyone knows, and Senator Hickenlooper, the Democrat from Colorado, the former governor of that state. But they introduced a bill, and let me see real quick, the Expanding Access to Credit for Small Businesses Act. The goal of that is to, I don't know what the right word is. The bill says that it abolishes the moratorium on non-bank 7A lenders.
Wow.
So the bill would open the way for SBA to bring into the fold. There's no limit that I could see. I haven't actually read the legislation yet, but it certainly would open the way for SBA to bring in more than the I believe 14 non-bank lenders that are currently active in the program. It doesn't, as far as I can tell, it doesn't say that they have to, but
Right, of course.
But it would
sign
open
what we call the master agreement, which is called the 750.
Yes.
Yeah, I have a couple things I might want Lance to weigh in. Number one, that's good news for everyone on the call, even though you may not leave your position. It's going to create a dearth of expertise out there, and supply and demand. There are going to be some nice jobs available out there. So everyone, that's interesting. Number two is SBA has not liked the concept of the SBLC for a while because it's unregulated. So perhaps they've now changed their tune on that they have the tools from going from 40 billion to 1 trillion to be able to regulate these lenders. Lance, what's your take?
Well, historically, SBA to get a non-bank lending license has required that you have personnel on your team with extensive SBA experience. So you are right, Bob, that will put old gray-headed SBA lenders at a premium as we go forward, and if there is an expansion of this, and it essentially expanding SBA lending like this will make all the people on the call a more valuable team member wherever they're at, because right now SBA participant lenders, I think, are struggling to find more good people to join.
Well, they
their
are.
team.
I'm getting calls every day. Absolutely.
Yeah. I get calls from people on a daily basis as well, Bob. So though another group of lending organizations that have no experience that will need quality team members is just going to further deplete, the availability of good SBA team members. So everybody on this call, you're going to become more and more valuable if this does take
And there's going to be greater competition. My attitude in competition is there are no secrets. It's simply execution. John, what's your preliminary view on this? Is this something you would support, or are you still mulling it over?
Well, I just offer two observations. Number one, this, for one of the reasons you just mentioned, Bob, this would have been inconceivable in 2019.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
But what has transpired with COVID is that SBA, I'm guessing, I'm speculating, has developed a comfort with big numbers. Big numbers of loans. And I don't think regular SBA will ever reach the level of PPP. I'm not trying to say that, but obviously,
Well, I agree with you. Yeah.
SBA has the capacity, or feels it has the capacity to handle a lot more business than it has handled in the past. So that's one. And number two, I was thinking, as you were mentioning the very good point that this, if it goes through, will really potentially open the door for, at least make SBA professionals, the individuals, a lot more attractive. It might make these non-bank lenders a lot more attractive, and maybe you could see deals. I mean, banks buy non-banks all the time. They buy non-bank wealth management firms. They buy non-bank insurance agencies. They do this all the time, and if you're a bank and you want to expand or get into SBA lending, if you're a credit union and you want to expand or get into SBA lending, this would create a ready-made opportunity.
Right. Well, you have you have CDCs who are under 150 grand. CDFIs are putting their toes in the water.
Right.
So you're seeing a number of different institutions doing that. Lance, your quick opinion, is this a good thing, bad thing, or what do you think?
Well, I think, John made a great point. SBA's figured out that they can handle significantly larger numbers. And I think getting more capital out to small businesses is certainly a good thing. And
all right, well, let me ask you the elephant in the room question. They think they can. Can SBA pull it off?
they're first of all, Bob, they're proving to me in this process, the direct forgiveness portal is an example. One of the best platforms SBA's released in my lifetime as an SBA lender.
Lance, thank you for bringing that up. I saw an interesting article, I believe it's PNC Financial, where they're not going to the portal and the number of lenders aren't because they already built the infrastructure. Now, I haven't talked to the people there, so I don't know if they believe their portal's better than SBA's or they just have a sunk cost or they're attached to it emotionally. But John, you're out there talking to people. What percentage do you think are using the portal, and what percentage are saying, "Hey, we're going with our in-house created stuff"?
The number I had, and it's a few days old now, was they were getting upwards of 600 users, and that's still well under half of the of lenders that when you throw in the credit unions that participated, 700 plus credit unions, God knows how many banks. You're talking well over 2,000 PPP lenders. So yeah. I would imagine.
I think my numbers were 5,200, something like that. Lance, does that sound about right to you?
That sounds right, and it's hard for me to imagine. Again, I did talk to some banks that are not participating, and their concern centered around what the money they'd already spent on their process, and their concern was confusing customers with another, now you need to go here. But I've lived this forgiveness portal now for 7 consecutive days, and it works incredibly well. The number of customers we're being able to help through the forgiveness process is pretty amazing. To me, not had problems. The developer of the portal was on the phone with me earlier today, and they didn't just throw it out there and want it to be static. He's talking to me and others, not just me, about ways to continually improve how the portal works. We all remember SBA 1, which is not completely dead yet, but it got thrown out there and basically just sat there.
What do you mean not completely dead? It's my guess it's not buried. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, but the point of the matter is the development of this portal included participant lenders and borrowers and the SBA, so it worked better right off the bat. And on a daily basis, we're hearing from the developer on, hey, what's your experience like? How can we improve it? And, that's how you develop a platform that works incredibly well, and this one does.
It's interesting you mentioned, Lance, that there are some big banks, and I think it's understandable and inevitable, that concluded we've spent a lot of money developing our own portals. Why would we now
sunk cost
direct people elsewhere and risk the confusion? I think SBA probably understood that was going to be the decision by a lot of banks. I did talk to one, and I'm not going to say too much about it because I'm writing a story about this, but I did talk to one that did spend a lot of money to develop what they felt was a very fine platform portal. And then they chose to use this for their 2021 loans. And their conclusion was that it just will help everyone if, the number of servicers, so to speak, the number of portals of ways to do this is restricted, and everyone has sort of a similar experience, a similar way to get these loans done. It will help SBA, it will help the banks, and I guess what I'm trying to say is this was developed more with an eye towards the smaller banks and credit unions that would probably not be able to field something like this on their own. So
Great. I want to talk about real quick the RRF Replenishment Attempts Restaurant Relief Fund. And I know there's been legislation introduced. John, is that going anywhere?
It's hard to say right now since there's so much going on in Capitol Hill, and the thing I fear is the spending bills, the infrastructure bill, the big $3.5 trillion spending bill, are sort of, they run the risk of sucking up all the air in the room. What will be left?
John, do you know, I don't know, and I don't know if we all do. Do you know what in that infrastructure bill is earmarked for small business in terms of additional grants or whatever? I haven't read anything about that.
No, I don't, and I haven't either, but I have, talked to some people about concern that paying for the $3.5 trillion bill will wipe out opportunities, say, to continue the no fees, that there may be fees reintroduced, and
lowering guaranteed percentages, yeah.
Right. So that things that have worked very well this year, it might be tough for them to continue. Speculation, but at least that's something that people are talking about.
What else is on your radar? What else are you working on that's fun?
Those are the big ones, and just seeing and wondering, as the totals keep going up for the weekly lending reports, if my own personal speculation, so it's worth absolutely nothing, but I just wonder, will SBA have a situation towards the end of the fiscal year, maybe some point in September, where they're bumping up against the limits, or I guess for 7A, it seems to me, what would you bet? Maybe I could ask you: will the administrator have to use her authority to add the 10% to the program?
She would do that's a no-brainer.
I know she would, but will she have to?
Will she have
I believe she'll have. The numbers I've seen, John, I think she's going to have to use it.
Yeah.
William made a very important point, and I agree with William, is the studies have shown fintech lenders had a higher percentage of their PPP loans damaged by fraud. You're absolutely correct, William. It says, if we increase the number of lenders, are we going to see the increase in fraud and bad loans? Will loan quality decline? William, the answer, and here I would be speaking as a shill for SBA, is they feel they can monitor that situation and prevent that from happening. So they're saying we've learned from history, and we don't think that these lenders would do that. And if they did it, obviously they're not going to be in the program for long. So thank you, William, for that. Well, very good.
One thing real quick.
Go ahead, John.
While these are, PPP loans were 7A loans, I think it would be fair to say that the level of documentation and just the level of underwriting that a regular 7A loan gets is different. It's not an emergency program. It's an established with lots of, with a lot of procedures built up around it. So I'm guessing, I'm not going to rule out an increase in fraud or anything like that, but I'm guessing that it wouldn't rise to that level.
Yeah, I would agree. Hey, Lance, you have a couple cool webinars coming up. Joseph, there we go. Let's see. Lance and I are doing projections. This is critical for this time around. SBA is looking long and hard on that, and we want to make sure you know what you're doing and getting that right. That'll be next Wednesday, so please sign up for that. And then I'm going to do loans over 350, the credit memo, and then we're going to follow up with Lance. And Lance and I are going to do that, and then we're going to do a new offering, which is SBIC with Marty Techler's group. We're going to talk about for your lenders, and that may be something your CFO or someone in your institution would be aware of. Lance, I see we don't have you on the agenda, so I'm going to let you pick the topic. What topic are you going to do next for us?
Well, I think we need to probably jump back in and look at PPP servicing, because that's going to become a critical issue. Not all of these loans will get fully forgiven. Some of your customers will not even request forgiveness. So how are we going to take care of the PPP loans that have leftover?
Joseph, September 15th.
Yeah.
We're good. Hey, we're over. John, I really appreciate your time. Thank you so much. I know you're busy. Good reporting. Good stuff you're doing. Lance, it's always good to see you. Go back and add into your numbers. And thank you for joining us today for Coleman Report Live and for supporting America's Main Street, one entrepreneur at a time.
Have a great day.